they were always exposed. Mainly would expose them to our kids.
Okay.
So that they also do not have the jealousy that these people only love each other, but they do have challenges.
Right.
And when we had those challenges, we'll expose them to them, and we'll talk about how we're going to try and resolve them. And we will then ask them, what is it that they can contribute positively?
The motherland, the African man. Long as I'm alive, I'ma make a plan. Strongholds to break, got long walks to take, got no votes to make, but don't bet, we pray. Hey, African man, yeah. The African male iris, through the eye of an African male.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to another episode of the African Male Iris. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm DJ Tino, and of course,
I am Prayer Soul, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the African Male Iris. We really appreciate your feedback. We really appreciate when you guys actually sit down and watch a whole episode and share thoughts. So please continue to share suggestions, questions, anything you'd like to see on the show. We've got a couple of things we're planning that we're excited about, so we should be announcing those in a few episodes. So we'll definitely keep you posted.
yeah, and we've had a lot of feedback from a lot of men saying, we always hear your perspectives from a middle-aged male perspective, but
Right.
how come you never bring any older men to the podcast?
Right.
And I think that's something that's been lacking. But today we have the honor of having someone who we look up to,
Absolutely.
an older brother, an uncle, father, grandfather. Please help us welcome Sandile Ntombela.
Yes. Thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes. So I met Sandile at the gym,
Right.
and he always comes, most of the time he comes to the gym with his wife.
It sounds like Tino's that guy who's always greeting people at the gym. Because I don't know how many people you've actually met at the gym. I'm like, Tino's just that guy.
We're the same.
Yeah?
We're the same.
You're the same.
You can't believe that we probably go to each other. If he doesn't see me, I will go to him and I will greet him. If I don't see him, he will come to me
Right.
he'll greet me. So there's that, you know. And today it culminated to something like this.
Right.
You know?
That's good, which is great.
Yeah, man.
Great.
And it's something, us guys aspire to, when you're looking at that, someone that age and having that relationship with his wife where they are getting along to a point where you're doing an activity or something together. And I think to myself, when I'm older and I just want that comfortable relationship.
Yeah, exactly. How did you convince your wife to go to the gym with you? Like, who was going to the gym first? How did that happen?
This is a long story. This is 43 years ago. I was jogging,
Yeah?
and jogging in the streets, and I saw this color that was bright,
Right.
getting bigger and bigger and closer.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, probably the next thing I am going to creep myself or, and then I decided, let me not greet her.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Let me not greet her. Let me continue with what I'm doing so that she can continue with what she was doing. And after about 10 or so meters, I checked, and she was checking.
Right.
Wow, something is really connecting here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both of you were kind of athletic.
I would say kind of wanting a good life.
Okay.
You know, life that will sustain us to a point where we are today. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how has been that journey for you? You know, it's now rare, you know, in modern times to hear of marriages that are 3-4 decades. No,
It's 4 decades.
wow,
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
to cherish. And
Only
to-
4 decades.
So how long have you been married, and how long have you known each other?
We've known each other for probably 41 years. Then we got to a relationship about 39 years ago. And was it 39 or 40? Somewhere there. And then we got married 38 years ago.
Wow,
Wow.
Yeah.
amazing.
38 years.
What is the secret to long marriages?
Is to be independent and an individual, you know, whilst you know that you have somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, being there next to you almost all the time, because even when I go, she's there. Even when I go to the shop, she would be like, may I go with you? And if I get to the shop alone, all the cashiers will be, where's Mama? Where's Coco? Where's Mama? Where's Coco? And when she goes to the shop alone, it will be the same thing as well. And yeah, and I know, I mean, when you with somebody almost all the time, it is regarded as something that can be monotonous. But we've made it a point that it doesn't become monotonous.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said something very interesting there that I've had a conversation with my wife about. Being, making sure you do have your
Individuality.
individualism.
Yeah.
So what does that look like for you in terms of between you and your wife having that
And how did you
individual?
like come up to
Yeah.
to both of you having that understanding?
Yes.
She couldn't understand it initially. I don't think she does understand it even now, but she doesn't know that that's a secret. You know,
Wow.
I'm still Sandile. She is still Tutu, and the only thing that we do is doing things together, but knowing very well that we are here because there is something that is very sacred, something that was blessed by God. And surprisingly enough, after that meeting on the road,
Yes.
I met her maybe 3 or 4 times thereafter. But I met her a lot when we were taking a taxi home. Okay? And I told myself that I'm not going to greet her. I will greet anyone in the taxi, but not her. Because I wanted to see something from her as to whether she was interested in this man.
Okay.
Because this man
okay.
was interested in her.
Yes.
Until one day, I'm not going to say how my sobriety was on that day, but I then said to her, "How are you?" And she was like, "I'm good,"
Yeah.
Right.
And then after that,
The
until
conversation started.
then it's 40 years later.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's great.
And sorry, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Only 64.
64. You look
Wow.
great.
Yes. 64, you look great. Wow.
I wish it was somebody else who was saying that. I wish it was her saying that I'm looking great, because I always tell her she looks great.
Right.
Yeah, and the kids will always say that. But my grandkids will always say, but Mkulu, they don't call me Mkulu, they call me Kus. But Kus, you're still looking good.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Wes, when I run or do anything, they will say, like, you do like you are still 18, 19. And it's all God's grace, guys. I'll be very honest with you.
Right.
It's God's grace. And fortunately, God's grace is not transactional. You don't do anything to deserve it. We all have God's grace. So that's the advantage that was bestowed on me, by God.
For sure. And, you know, he said one thing to me when I started mentioning the podcast that I said, I think we have the right man.
Right.
So he said it in front of his wife, right? When I was talking about the podcast and saying, we would love to have you. He said to me, I advocate for men.
Yeah.
And my wife knows it knows it fully.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just wanted you to elaborate on that when you say you advocate for men.
Yeah.
What is your thinking around that when you say
You know, I'll put it very honestly to you guys. I mean, we as men need to understand the responsibility we have. You know, whether you're still a young man, middle-aged man, an old man, or whatever that age you are in, you need to understand what your responsibilities are. And also the accountability as well, never ever throw it away, because that is what makes you a better man to everyone that looks up to you, and also everyone that expects something from you as a man. So that's basically what I said. I always advocate for men. And I wish men would understand this, and also be very gentle about it. You know, we sometimes fight things so that we'll be recognized. Don't fight anything if the recognition is not there. You know, just keep on keeping on.
Right.
Probably after 40 years, somebody's going to appreciate you. You know, so yeah, just keep on keeping on, and
very
don't force anything to be given to you in terms of appreciation. You know, in fact, it applies generally in life, but that is something that I've always maintained.
Okay. Interesting.
And from you, what is the role of a man? What would you say is the role of a man in society, in marriage, in general? And where are you now seeing the differences now between from the time you grew up, the manhood in that era, and
Like, what are the
now
things we are losing as the younger men?
Yes, exactly. Or we are now thinking it's not a man's role per se, or we are, we're discarding as the future generation of men.
Let me start by saying, what is it that we saw from our dads, our fathers, our uncles, and those that were lucky, the grandfathers and grand uncles? There was a lot of building a community and making sure that, the community stayed together, and each father around and within the community will be your father, anytime, every time.
Right.
And consequently, that made us to know that is my dad. The only thing is, he's not my biological father. So the respect that we had for them was sometimes bemusing, or you would laugh at it sometimes, because when you're doing something and he will approach, you will hide like you were hiding from a snake, just the father within the community.
Yeah.
And that with us showed us something that I still maintain even at this day and age. When you are a man, be exemplary, do things so that the community that you are in look up to you, irrespective of your level. If I'm talking about the level, I'm talking about the level of anything, financially, education, you name it. Just be somebody that the kids will look up to. So we grew up under that era. So we also adopted it. And we could not and did not adopt it because it was something that we saw only. We adopted it because it was something that we saw working for the communities in such a way that we were told that if you are a child, you are a child of the community. If there is a dad, is the dad of the community. He will never leave you unattended in any situation. So that's how we grew up, and
Wow.
it was very exciting.
Do you think that saying that starts to make a lot of things make sense now? Do you think that the men of today lack that level of accountability and sense of responsibility because they don't feel that they are a father figure to everybody? They only sort of narrow things down to their own situation. And so if I don't have kids and then I'm not a father to anybody, I can live however. Do you feel like that kind of attitude is becoming common amongst young men because we've lost that sense of community?
I will not say it is exactly that. I will only say if we can do it more. I'm not being diplomatic here. I'm just putting it straight. If we can do it more, irrespective of, like I indicated, the level or the levels, let's just do it more. If I meet somebody who is younger than me as a father, or I'm now a grandfather, as a grandfather, I must always ensure that that person in that 1 minute, there is something that has got to do with respect that I shared with. There is something that has got to do with discipline that I've shared with that person. And there is something, to crown it all, that has got to do with love. If I have done that and was able to do that, then I can do other things to ensure that, this this thing of being a father within the community then spreads. And what is very exciting is that the community is not just the community that you live in. It's the community because we have something in common. I'll probably say we have something in common in terms of color, or we have something in common in terms of, yes, mainly color, Right. So if I want to see black kids, especially African kids, becoming better kids, let me share something with them that I will live with and that they will take from me and and live with it for the rest of their lives, knowing very well that I, even if it doesn't say I got that from Sandile, you would say I got this from my dad. And it's not going to say Sandile because it's within the community.
Okay.
So just to ask, is it that modern times now we just have more issues in general? We look at the high level of divorce rates, the domestic violence that's happening, as compared to our generations before. It was almost unheard of, to say divorce or all these issues that are happening now with marriages, what would you say
This is the main cause.
is the main cause? I think you have children too. I'm sure
Yeah.
you see them
Yeah.
with their relationships. And
Yeah.
what would be the main difference?
Many people will tell you different things. I used to maintain something that I used to admire. The old ladies, whether you use the word old or, but the old ladies, they used to keep secrets.
Okay.
And those secrets were not kept for an individual. They were kept for the community. They would never talk ill about people. They didn't do that, Instead, they made it a point that that thing was confined into a very safe space. And the safest space was, don't go around shouting at people about their weaknesses and the things that they have done. But instead, make it a point that you become part of the solution within that. And the dads will then play along
Okay.
to what our mothers used to do, There is a word that is used in Zulu. It's called umfazi. And if you interpret it properly and positively, ufa azi. And that taught us a lot of things.
Sorry, meaning? Sorry, that's just
Yeah.
to
Ufa
give that-
azi, she will die knowing.
knowing. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and that made us understand life in a very awkward way, because things will happen, and you would think, hey, this thing really, really has happened, but you find no one talking about it. Even when they whisper, they didn't. They never spoke about those things, and it was something that would be kept within themselves. And as you know, the mothers are the ones that will rear their boys more than the dads. The dads will come in and make it a point that the boys are strong, but rearing up the boys, it was the duty of the mothers. And that's what I would really appreciate from a community level point of view. And then you guys keep on asking me, and I was trying to avoid this question, but I have to answer it. That what is it that has gone wrong nowadays? Nothing has gone wrong. The only thing is we are just in a different phase of life, completely different phase. I will see something happening there. I take a video of it. I will spread it all over. Instead of putting my cell phone in the pocket, go to that situation and see how I can be part of the solution. Be solution orientated rather than be somebody that's going to spread something that is not going to give a positive stance or a positive energy within the community. I mean, that's basically it. In our case, we never used to have cell phones, and the cameras never used to be having videos. So the picture, you would just deduce from the picture what is it that was going on. But what was most important was, even at that time, we would probably start by assisting an individual rather than showing off to the public. And we grew up with that. And we grew up with that, which is what we still do even today. You know, we find it very appalling that somebody will see a person or an individual hit by a car and will be busy taking a picture instead of going to assist and see what is it that you can do or phone an ambulance or whatever. And this happens mainly in our communities now. Let us all be there to make sure that the next person gains from you and the next person is a solution-oriented individual on that issue.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have an interesting question. My parents have also been together for a very long time. And I remember us having a conversation about marriage. And I remember saying to them, you've been married, I think they've been married for 40 years maybe. Yeah, 40 years. And I said to them, how come married couples never talk about the years that were not so great? Because they are so celebrated. They're so celebrated and admired for the 40 years because it's such a great thing to achieve.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to achieve. It's a very exemplary thing and it's a beautiful thing. And there's more to learn than there is to criticize.
Yeah.
And I feel like that approach of being able to always look for the positive and work on the positive is exactly what we need to do more of. So I actually said to them, one positive thing you can do when you teach people about marriage, because they do a lot of like counseling and things like that. And I said, you need to explain to people that not all the 40 years were just flowers and roses and beautiful. You need to explain that maybe out of the 40 years, maybe 6 of the years were really tough.
Yeah.
And you would almost think about leaving or whatever. But this is what got us through, because those are the tools that people are going to need to actually make it to that far. If you just celebrate and show them the positives only, then you almost give us young people this pressure. A good team, you feel like if I don't make it to 10 years or 20 years, I'm a failure. There's something wrong with me. Only when you then sit down and then Sandile actually shares some of his challenges, then you realize, oh, so I'm actually also normal.
Yeah.
And this is not abnormal.
It's part of.
This is part of marriage, you know? So when I said that, I remember my mother saying, wow, I never really thought about it that way, you know? And she said, yeah, I think I'm actually going to start changing the way I explain it. So I would like to know from you that out of the 38 years, how many of those were very challenging and how did you overcome those challenges?
We never we never spoke, sorry about that. We never spoke about how we're gonna be taking the challenges that we had into making sure that even though we have those challenges, but we hide them. We never at any stage hid them.
Okay.
They were always exposed. Mainly would expose them to our kids
Okay.
so that they also do not have the jealousy that these people only love each other, but they do have challenges.
Right.
And when we had those challenges, we'll expose them to them and we'll talk about how we're going to try and resolve them. And we will then ask them, what is it that they can contribute positively? And when we did that, we would say, they must come to me and tell me what is it that they think I should do better. And they must go to their mom alone and tell her what is it that, she must do better.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And in that way, we found it to be very constructive, because I would say to them, talk to me as if I'm not your dad.
Wow.
Just talk, throw it, say whatever.
That must
it
be
like
tough,
it
though.
is.
Say
Yeah.
it like you, because obviously if they do that in front of my wife, she was going to say, but don't forget, this is your dad. I mean, it will go to that extent.
Yes,
and
yes,
if
yes.
they say something to her, I would also say that as well. So I would then ask them to, and then thereafter, we all sit together and we talk about it. I'm talking about serious stuff, yeah. I'm not talking about dropping the spoon, on the floor. I'm talking about serious stuff, serious
Wow.
stuff, And
That's amazing.
I think they they learned something from that, and I have never been the best dad. But any and every time I will find a T-shirt that says you are the best dad, best granddad. I would see a cup that says that. I would see, and I would be like, wow, from these kids, eh? Yeah? And
After everything they know.
exactly.
Right.
Because I am a normal human being.
Yeah.
I was just lucky that I got the wife that I have, and also got the children that I have.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
That is
No,
I think we have to congratulate you on that level of being open,
Exactly.
because I think that a lot of older African men are not so easy to correct or suggest something that you think they might do better. It's not a platform that most fathers or grandfathers will sort of open up and say.
Just thinking about my father. I never.
You can never imagine.
I hardly remember having a sit down with my father,
Right.
talking about life or him giving me sound advice.
Right.
As a man.
Yeah.
So from childhood, it was more of maybe you are just watching. But,
So you end up just learning from watching.
Yeah, watching. The uncles, yes, here and there would kind of
some
give
talks,
some
yeah.
counsel and what, but it's something, of course, you long for from your own father.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a very reserved person, didn't talk much.
Yeah.
And for you to hearing that from you, it's something that definitely I would love to implement with my children.
Yeah. No,
Because
definitely.
we're already, with what you said, you already do that intentionally, of trying to show your children the good side of our marriage, right?
Yes.
You just want to show mommy and daddy are always hugging, they're kissing, and that's what you want the kids to see.
But showing them the reality as
Yes.
well. I think that is definitely why they will buy you those gifts and say you're the greatest dad. Because I think the greatness is not about being perfect,
Exactly.
Yeah.
but about being real.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like real greatness is. And I feel like that should just be like a challenge for most men who are watching the show, to be able to learn that level of accountability is exactly why a marriage will work and why a family will be strong. Because you're also opening yourself up to your children and saying, this is the challenge we have. It's our challenge. So let's face it and let's talk about it. And if you've got suggestions, and then come up with like creating a community around the issue, then makes it less powerful.
Yeah.
Because now everybody can just think about, okay, I think this might work, that might work, and whatever. And I feel like that is very, very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, I always say this is going for 4 decades now. It's because of her. That is my wife.
Right.
I always say that, and
Right.
she would look at me like, but yes, I really was very blessed to have a wife like that, and she's the pillar. I mean, she's everything.
I think we need to get her on the show. I think we
A
need to get her on the
couples
show. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not sure whether she would agree. I'm not sure whether she would
Yeah,
agree.
there's usually one partner who's talkative and open.
another one
The other
who's-
one's like, yeah.
No, I'm not talkative.
You're not?
I'm a very close book.
Really?
All right.
She's the one who talks a lot. The only thing is
okay.
she talks to me.
Right.
Because she finds it very easy to tell me now that I've done something wrong. Now, you know?
Right.
And I live with that and I enjoy it. I mean, I nearly made an example now when we were coming back from the gym this morning.
Yeah.
What she said and what I said to her, and then
Right.
laughed about it. And I said to her, "Hey, by the way, I'm going there and I'm going to talk about this." And she was like, "No, please don't expose
Don't
me.
share that.
Don't expose me." Yeah. So yeah, but I always give the credit to her, and I first have to give credit to my mom.
Right.
Okay.
You know, my mom made me a man that I am, and my dad made sure that I become a stronger man
Right.
physically. You know, so they played those roles, and but my mom was very strict. But today I always say she used to be very firm, but fair. You know, she would advise and give anything that you needed, but at the same time she would make it a point that you become a better person. You know, small things like we were talking about it with my wife the other day, and I was saying to her, you know, it's amazing. Ever since I started opening my eyes, I don't remember not going to church. A simple thing like that.
Right.
You know, you might take it very lightly. You know, and I don't remember not going to church. Even when I was 18, 19, 20, well, let me say from 18 to 28, those years tend to be a little bit tough and rough.
Right.
You'll come back at 4 o'clock in the morning. If you had come back from where you were, I would then look at the time. I would say, "Shoo, 4. If I sleep now, I'll wake up at 12, and I have to be in church at 9 o'clock. So what do I do?" And then I won't sleep. That
Until you
time
have
I
to
was
go
on
to
my
church.
own. I mean, I stayed on my own.
All right.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I would still do that. You know, I'm talking about what the woman will do
Exactly.
to make you a better person, you know, and make you have a better personality.
Right.
You actually raised something in what you've said. Do you feel it's important for a man to have that time of bachelorhood? Like, I'm done with my school, I get my first job, I need to enjoy my money, go out,
Date some
experience
girls.
life, marry later. Because I think we had this conversation between us guys. And for me, I married early.
Yeah.
I married at 24.
All right.
Yeah, 24.
Hey, bro, you were so early.
So, and these guys, he got married in his early 30s.
31.
So we had that back and forth to say, no, you're still experiencing life. You were still young, you know. I remember pressing at 25, I don't feel like you are at the right age to give yourself to someone fully.
Yes.
Then I was like, but I got married at that age.
Exactly.
You know, so what do you feel like a man does he just need that period where he's just
Finds himself.
before he settles down?
Because the truth is, it works differently for different people, I guess.
There you are. I wanted to say that. I mean, why do you say something I wanted to say? I mean, it works differently for different people, guys. We need to understand that, you know. I I was very lucky that I had a very few years of being on my own,
Okay.
and those were the terrible years.
Okay.
You know,
Why would you say they were terrible?
terrible. I was like an unleashed dog.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
you know, you do things,
Yeah.
and every morning you say,
What was I doing?
what was I doing? You know, and fortunately it was for a very short period.
Period of time.
And when I got to have a relationship with her, there was one or two things that I checked, which I asked myself, will this work for the rest of my life? Or it will break along the way? And I said to myself, why am I worrying myself only? Let me bring her. We sat, and I asked her a very normal but complicated question in the sense that most people don't normally look into that as the basis of a marriage. You know, I said to her, before I tell you my side, do you love me? And she said, yeah, I do. I said, how much? I said, like, I can throw everything away for you. And I said, what do you mean by throwing everything away? Like, I would leave everything and be with you. And I said, for how long? She said, for the rest of my life. I smiled. I don't have a beautiful smile, but I smiled. And I said, yeah, I think you've said something that I wanted to know. I'll do the same for you and with you. And one of the most important things that I said on that day was, I do not want to get married to somebody whom I love. Because that's the biggest mistake that most men do. You get married to somebody that you love.
Not someone that loves you.
Not somebody that you are in love with.
Love. Okay.
She loves you, you love her. You know? If a day goes by without us saying, that is, you see what you're doing now. That is not a normal day. We know. I mean, we have to. Because we are, then it goes back to your question, we are individuals.
Right.
Yeah. So if she does something wrong, or if she does something that I don't feel comfortable about, I would say it. Initially, we used to avoid saying it in front of the kids. Now the kids are grown, we will say it. Man, why did you? And then if the kids are like trying to jump in, both of us will be like, where now? Where do you come in there? You know? Get up. And then again, we go back and continue with where we were. But yes, it is not easy. Somebody said, in your 40 odd years, how many of the years can you count? I'll probably say 39 that were not right.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And you know why?
Why?
Because we are both normal human beings.
That is a good answer.
Other than that, we will pretend and pretend and pretend, just like boiling water. What happens to boiling water?
It reaches its
So, yeah.
It's always a constant journey.
It is.
Right.
It is. And sometimes what it does is it works for you guys to know that you being normal human beings, you are able to attend to a situation and conquer together. Although you are still individuals, but you can attend to a situation and conquer together. I mean, like I was saying to you, there's never a day that I'll be like, hey man, if you're like, you know when, and then probably we'll see a chicken crossing the road, and then we laugh, and then it's
Move
back
on.
to it's back to being back on the road.
Interesting.
Would you say both of you had some aspects of yourselves that changed with time? Is it safe to say, as human beings, we change? Our needs change, our
Personalities
and as a partner, we need to have that understanding that someone's wants and needs do change, and not to say you've changed. You never used to be like this.
Yeah.
You know that question. I wish it could be asked, or it was asked when I was still young.
Okay.
Now I don't even see it. I don't really feel it. I mean, I sleep with this person every day. I wake up, she's snoring. She wakes up, I'm snoring. And doing other things that are not, to talk about on the on this podcast. But you still wake up in the morning and you still love her.
Yes.
Or she will wake up in the morning and she still loves me.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah,
Interesting.
I think I will summarize it by saying, continue to be normal human beings. Don't artificialize anything. Don't
Be
make
real, being real and being honest.
being real makes you a better person. Her being real makes me a better person because I know her. I know how she will feel if I do this, and sometimes I will say sorry before she even finds out.
Right.
Because I know how she'll feel, and she'll be like, "But how many?" And I would say, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And we will then resolve issues based on that. I don't know why, because you guys wanted to know a man's perspective, but I'm busy talking about me and my wife.
No, but that's
And,
exactly.
That's exactly what.
This is exactly what we needed to know.
Exactly.
Yeah. My next question. Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. My next question is based off the last episode. The last episode with a young lady here who was explaining her personal experiences, and she said, I will never date a man who makes less money than me because I feel that it sort of disturbs the roles because I want to be able to look up to a man, and the man needs to be able to do this and whatever. So, but obviously there's ups and downs in life and things happen, and sometimes maybe the wife makes more for 3 months, and then the man goes back to making more after that. So how important do you think that is in marriage?
I didn't want to get to this one. When I met her,
Yeah.
she had her own house.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, she had her own car.
Okay.
Was it a car? Not at that time, but later when she had it. And she was earning far more than me.
Wow.
And the one thing that I told her was very surprising to her. I said to her, in a year's time, I'll be earning more than you. And in 2 to 3 years' time, I'll probably be earning 3 or 4 times more than you. And did it happen that way? The answer is left with you guys. And if, like I was saying to you, that if you can convert everything into a solution mode rather than a problem mode, then you have almost like achieved something about a situation that would have gotten worse.
Right.
Just put a solution there and then move. Okay, what she did was, when I met her, she was studying. Okay, she was working but studying. And I was having fun. All right?
Right.
And she said to me, I know your family, I know you, and I think you are the only one that is not, studying. Come, let's study. We're talking about after hours classes here. And jokingly, I said to her, but I'm going to finish before you. Yeah? Said, yeah, I know that. Oh, I thought I was discouraging her. She said, yeah, come. And then we studied together.
Okay.
And although she ended up with more degrees than I have. But yes, we studied together, and as I was studying, I always gave credit to her because I
Right.
found it very easy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah. I found it very easy, especially because she was not far from me. So I found that very easy.
Wow.
So yes, that's one of the things that she contributed with in my life.
Okay,
That's
so
that's amazing.
just a few, some of the guys that I told we're going to have an older man on the podcast.
Yeah.
They just threw a few questions as
Yeah,
well.
please fire.
A gentleman named Wallace. Remember Wallace?
Yes. Waluva.
So Wallace asked, he said, what are the most important lessons you've learned in your life? And he was saying if you could give a backstory to some of those lessons.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to say them as they were or they are. But just be yourself. We sometimes get to be pressurized by your acquaintances that you sometimes call friends.
Yeah.
And get pressure because he's now bought this and he stays in this place and he's done this for the wife and that, and you then want to emulate, knowing very well that you are probably not at that level of life. I'm not going to talk about material things. I'm going to talk about life in general. You would like to love like somebody else, and I want to treat my wife, hold hands in the shops. I don't want to hold hands in the shops. So be real, be yourself, and make it a point that you learn from other people, so that that learning is not something that is a pressure to you, but it makes you take the next step and another step and another step. Okay. Why I am saying that to Wallace is that one of the things that has created the most atrocities and the problems that we have now is people want to do what somebody else is doing, knowing very well that you will never be. You don't know where and how that person got to where he is or she is. And sometimes after 3, 4, 5 years, you discover that that person got to that level because these are the shenanigans that had to be done. And you say, wow, I'm happy that I did not and could not do that. But I am still taking every step, one step at a time. So, yes, I don't know whether Wallace will be happy with this. If you're not, I'll give you my number. You can give me a call.
Yeah, I also have one question.
Right.
Do you have any regrets of like things that you look back and think you could have done better, that you would like other young men to like be conscious of?
Yeah, lots of them. Lots of them. Where do I start? Yeah, there are lots of them, man.
Right.
I don't want to be specific. I might affect other people adversely.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are lots of things that I did wrongly. And I wish I didn't. But when I was doing it or doing them, I was having fun. And I think that fun was short-lived. Yeah. So
Not worth it.
it was not worth it. So if you can avoid doing things that you know will not take you to the heights that you want to be and the levels that you want to be at, stop them. Don't do them. And at the same time, if you are tempted,
Yeah.
if you are tempted, ask yourself what consequences are following here. Just ask yourself that question. If the answer is terrible, just take the terrible and run away,
Because it's going to happen.
because it's going to happen. You like it or not.
Right.
At the same time, we are normal human beings. We sometimes get exposed to the life that we never thought we would be exposed to. This comes mainly from a pecuniary point of view and also from a materialistic point of view. And you convert that into utilizing that in a way that it is adverse and jeopardizing your life, especially your family life.
Right.
You know, once you have chosen that you want to be a family man, keep it. And if you are tempted, think about the same word that I said. Temptation, is it okay? And if it is not okay, run away.
Nice.
It's not easy.
Wise words.
Very
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. I will tell anyone it's not easy.
Yeah.
And but do it.
So I think in closing, currently now there's the issue of mental health,
Yeah.
especially that affect men, where you're having suicide rates in men very high. You know, men are dealing with a lot of pressures.
Yeah.
You know, and current society is not making it any better.
Yeah.
You know, I always thinking to myself, what could make a man end his life knowing that he's got a family that depends on him, you know? But I myself would never know what that guy is experiencing or what he's feeling. What would you say about mental health and how men can go through these pressures, and yourself with the pressures maybe you've faced? How have you managed to overcome with that notion of men having to be strong, having to see things through, you know, not necessarily being open to a great extent because you don't want people to lose that faith in you, or you always want to be the strong tower.
Yeah.
But it is difficult.
You know, I have maintained this for as long as I lived. If I do not have somebody that I am accountable to, let alone responsible to, accountable to, then my life is starting to be in tatters. That very same person, use that person as a springboard. Make it a point that whenever things go haywire and wrong, talk to that person. Whenever you get excited, talk to that person. Whenever you think things that you held and you possessed have now faded and they are no more, speak to that person. Always have somebody that you know you are accountable to. If that person passes away, get another person. Always have somebody that you are accountable to. And you do not confide to that person you always make that person a springboard, which means you confide, you talk, you say, you cry, you know, everything to that person. Once you lose that, then you've lost the essence of life to me. That's how I've treated it. I've always had somebody that I speak to. I'm not going to tell you who that person is because I nearly said she. She will then know, it's not my wife, she will then know that I'm using her. I'm not using her. I'm just making sure that she is there for the rest of my life.
Can that person actually be your wife? I wonder.
I don't know. I don't
No,
even
eh?
want to say it. I don't know, and I don't even want to say it.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I would say is have that person.
Yeah.
It can be a male, it can be a female, it can be whoever.
Yeah.
Just have that person. And that person must have very strong feelings.
Yes. To
In
take whatever you're going to
take what
upload.
you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not judge.
Yeah. Sorry. I used to have my mother as that person.
Wow.
Yo, she was like, you see what you've done now. And I would now, hey, saying see you. I mean, somebody has shouted at me already.
You needed that.
You know, and
Yeah.
and it didn't mean then I felt better, but it meant then I have to start behaving like a man.
Yes.
You know,
It definitely gives balance
Yeah.
to have someone like that. Yeah.
yeah, always have that
Yeah.
that person.
100%.
That's true.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow.
This was such a good episode, man. Oh,
Why?
wow.
Why?
I think
Because there's so much to, like, I feel like I have to watch it again just so I can actually learn.
I'm actually going to watch it.
Yes. I feel like I'm going to sit and watch so I can actually listen to all of it again because I think you said a lot of really, really good points.
Some nuggets there.
Yes, that we really hear from men generally. And I think, firstly, we want to thank you for making the time and for also being that open to share your life with us
pleasure.
and your life with your wife and your family as well. So we really, really appreciate that. I think
Is
we
it still
definitely
being podcasted?
yes,
Yes, 100%.
yeah.
Where is it?
That's
The cameras.
yeah.
Oh, it's the cameras. Yeah, I saw him taking something. And I thought, okay,
No, that was just a timer.
Now I can have a chicken. Oh, you promised me a chicken.
There is chicken. Yes.
No. You promised me.
Yeah, there is chicken.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know if you also have any parting words for our listeners and audience.
Guys, what you did to me today is one of those things that I probably would have loved to have been doing it almost every year. You know, just to see how I am becoming a better person in life. You know, because being a better person is to sit with people that will make you become accountable. You guys were making me become accountable.
Right.
You're asking me serious and heavy questions that if some of the people will be like, wow, you know, when they look at it, wow,
right.
you know, because they know the other side of me. And then other people will be like, oh, yes, yeah, no, sure, you know, he's that kind of guy.
Right.
And others will be like, oh, I would like to be like that guy.
Yeah.
Yet others will be like, who does he think he is? You know, so
Yeah.
I am expecting views from whoever is going to watch this. And I'm talking to you now. Not to you, to them. Don't be shy to say how bad I was as a person when I was growing up and how good I was, or how bad my interview went, or how good my interview went, or any other thing. I mean, that's how we grow in life. I mean, we grow because others are able to say things that will make you a better person.
100%.
Yeah. So I know whatever comments that I will receive, I would be a better person.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think you've made us better men today by just listening to this. Yeah,
just a
this
lot
was
to
great.
ponder on and think about and share as well. So, no, we thank you so much, Sandile.
Unfortunately, there was a lady listening. Eh?
No, there's gonna be more ladies watching the whole show, so that's gonna be good. Yeah.
Tell me when it cuts. Eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining another episode of the African Male Iris. It's been another good one.
Yes.
And I would like to thank our guests for coming through. We'd like to thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please feel free to share your thoughts. Let us know what you think, what went well, what was good, what can we change, what can we make better, so that, like Sandile says, so that you can be a better person.
100%.
Yeah. So this is Prayer Soul, and I'm out.
DJ Tino, out. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
The motherland, the African man. Long as I'm alive, I'ma make a plan. Strong host.